All right, traders, we're going to be doing a midweek update here. This is going to continue to prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices heading into the rest of this week. We're going to be going over the new updated price action analysis levels for the SPY. We're also going to be going over the top stocks on my radar. If you are prepared to trade the best setups at the best prices, then make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. Let's get straight into it. So first things first, we need to talk about the SPY. So as you can see, futures are having a small dip selling off here during extended hours trading session. SPY ended up closing at 380.34, barely in the barely in the red today, and it dropped. Right now it's selling off. As you can see, it's now at 379.28. So there is going to be a gap to fill above. SPY is gapping down during extended hours trading. We are on track to gap down heading into tomorrow morning, and there is going to be a gap that is going to be waiting to fill above as long as we open up lower than we previously closed, which is at 380.34 right here, 380.34. So this is going to be one of our key levels. I'm going to give you a key level zone, right? So 380.34, and I'm going to give you this level as well. This is the level we discussed. If you guys watch my previous video in terms of buying call options, people were asking, well, when do I buy the call options? In terms of buying call options, if that was something you are interested in doing in terms of like scalping and day trading, the opportunity was to do so at the gap fill. Unfortunately, that gap did not fill today, but it nearly filled, and there was multiple reversals at this level. Right here, $378.06, as stated in my previous video. Once SPY hits that 378 gap, you're going to want to look to buy calls. So right here, we still have the gap to fill. It hasn't filled yet, but as you can see in terms of today, many gap close reversals partially filling that gap and then reversing. Right here got to a low of 378.42 and then rocketing back up to the green to 382. And then here was another opportunity and another opportunity. So there was three opportunities to scalp some calls. Same day expirations would have absolutely printed on that opportunity. With that being said, we need to continue to show this as a level of interest because it's been ripping very, very nicely today off that low 378 level. So here's the two levels that I want you to keep in mind for tomorrow. $378.06. If you think SPY is going to be a bloodbath, if you think it's going to absolutely get crushed, it's not going to happen until we crack 378 and turn that into a resistance level. If this 378.06 378.40 zone continues to hold, continues to bounce, continues to form support, we will be on track for a move up to 380.34. So here's our make it or break it levels. Our make it or break it levels right now are 380.34 and 378. Which one is more important? The most important level right now in terms of trend direction to determine whether we're going to have a gap close reversal and rocket back up to fill the gap, or are we going to crack this gap in itself? The most important level that you need to understand right now is 378.06. 378.06 is the make it or break it level. If it cracks, reacts as a resistance, SPY sells off. If it holds, forms support, then SPY rips up to fill the gap 380.34, which is the new make it or break it level, right? So in terms of your downside potential, if we do end up cracking that 378 level and reacting as a resistance level, how low will SPY be on track to go into this week? We will be on track for an overall pullback to about $374. And if 378 does crack and turn into resistance, the new best level for calls, make sure you write this down because this is going to be the best level to buy some call options right here. 365.86 to 366, low 366 range will be that best level to buy calls if we do crack 378, right? Now, we spoke about the downside potential. Let's talk about some upside potential. So if 378 holds, we're going to be on track to form a new lower high. SPY is selling off right now. It's gapping down. This isn't bullish. Nothing about the sentiment is bullish. We're in a bear market as well. So with that being said, in terms of upside potential, it's going to be a lower high to 380.34. That's the new make it or break it level. It's no longer this 382 resistance. It's 380.34. If it breaks above 380.34 and starts breaking out and forming support, it'll be on track to go to 382. If it pushes above 382, the next level is 384. If you play calls at 378, do not risk a lot. I would not risk SPY dropping more than like $370, $377.50, right? So like a 50 cent, 70 cent pullback, I would be stopped out in that particular trade if you were to scalp it. In terms of targets, The gap though will be the target of 380.34. That's the make it or break it level. If it reacts as a resistance, if 380.34 reacts as a resistance, SPY is very, very bearish overall because it's forming lower highs and it's already gapping down. If it breaks above 380.34, that's where we see a nice little breakout to 382, which is a make it or break it level. If it breaks out, then it goes to 384. If it breaks down, then it goes back to 380. So in terms of zones, in terms of levels, we're in a strong support channel of 378. It's been holding the support for one day, but it bounced 3 times today off that 378 support. That's the make it or break it support level. The make it or break it resistant level right now is going to be 380.34. We're going to call that a resistance level since SPY gap down, and there's also a lot of resistance at 382. That's going to be the make it or break it resistance level, and the make it or break it support level on the SPY is at 378. And remember, write this down if you're looking for money making information. Right here, $366. When we get to 366, this is where you're going to want to really scalp some call options on SPY. And remember, on these trades, cutting losers very, very quickly. In terms of expirations when scalping, I'll typically go with the short-term expiration. If you don't like same days, then go with the next date after that. And in terms of strike price selection, at the money or 1 point out of the money, right? So I'm keeping my strikes extremely close to the stock price and not going far out of the money, right? So that's how I kind of like to scalp and get in and get out and try to make my quick returns, right? And not hold. I'm telling you, man, holding options is extremely tough. I know some people do well in terms of holding for a bigger move. It just hasn't really been working for me. Today was actually one of my, it was my biggest red day of 2022, like my second biggest red day of 2022. This was not it, man. I just kept holding, kept scalping, breaking some rolls. Made a lot of stupid mistakes today. Today was a tough day overall. If you did well today, hats off to you, because I was finding today very difficult to be trading overall. But in hindsight, it looks so simple. All you had to do was buy calls towards the gap and buy puts towards the resistance. But in order to really determine that, you kind of had to wait. And this is why it's really best to wait to like after the first 30 minutes when the big move occurs. Because I mean, we were in a channel day. Today was a lot different than yesterday. Today was a channel day. This went from 382 all the way down to 378, nearly filling the gap, has its reversal, and then it tops at pre-market highs. Just like the SPY did yesterday in terms of where it topped at previous pre-market highs. Your pre-market highs were right here on the 2 days ago at 393, and it ripped to 393. And as soon as it hit those pre-market highs, it sold off. Look what happened last time. It sells off, it breaks below the previous closing price. It sells off, it breaks even lower than the previous closing price, right? So yeah, it's crazy. I actually had puts at a 392.70 on this day, and I got stopped out for like a 4% loss. I got back in though. I got back in and I did very well. And then I scalped some calls and gave back some profits. It is what it is, some quick scalps. But yeah, I have to get back to it, man. I have to get back to really trading at better prices and better setups. And for me, it's just, it's been scalping, man. Holding for the entire day hasn't been working well for me. I'm really good at scalping, just getting in, getting out within like 30 minutes, couple minutes. And then the longer term swing trades, that's really what I like doing, scalping in the longer term swing trades. But in terms of SPY, man, in hindsight, and like I said, man, if you're not doing well in the morning, wait for the big move to happen in the first 30 minutes. So within the first 30 minutes, what did SPY do? It, in the pre-market, it hit 382, sold off to nearly fill the gap. It ripped back up to the pre-market, and then it sold off again. So you now know that the best price to buy on the day is right here, and the best price to sell on the day is right here. You know that because you waited for the first 30 minutes of the day. So that's one recommendation I can give you, man, because this day can really screw a lot of people up, because if you're trading, like there's a lot of people who hit big on puts yesterday. And if you think it's going to happen again, I personally in the beginning thought it was going to happen again. Then I switched to calls, and calls didn't break above 382. So you really needed best entries today because we were in a channel. But yeah, you could just see, man, if you were to just hold yesterday, it worked out very well. But in terms of today, if you were to just hold, you're either losing money or you're giving back all your profit by not locking in profits, right? If you're holding for the bigger move and you're not taking profit, you're giving it all back, and then you're losing money. So today was today was not the day to be holding anything. Today was the day to scalp, get in, get out. Some days the days to hold, right? It's just, I've really been thinking about it, and it just seems like instead of worrying about that and trying to figure out if it's going to be a day to hold for a bigger win or if it's going to be a choppy day like this, instead of trying to just figure out, it's not an exact science. It's best to just kind of scalp, in my opinion, and just aim for the more smaller wins. One way to make your wins bigger is to go with a closer expiration. Your percentage gains will be a lot bigger. Obviously, there's pros and cons to doing that. I mean, the contracts are cheaper, so technically it's less riskier if you size in accordingly. But you do have to time those very, very well. It's very strategic timing. But yeah, if you're scalping though, I would go with a closer expiration. If you're just getting in, getting out, sizing in less, taking advantage of the bigger percentage move. But that's the thoughts on SPY, man. And in terms of, SPY having that big move at 393, some people might wonder why was it such a big move at 393, but today we didn't get a big move. It was a lot more overbought than it was. That could be one reason. You could see right here at 393 and it sold off all the way to 387. That's a nice 6-point move. And you could see when it double topped to 393, it did the same thing, except this time it went much, much lower than that previous closing price. So, I mean, one reason could be, there's plenty of reasons, but just one could be it's more overbought. It's more overbought. There was a gap to fill right here at 380, 389.80. It was attempting to break out, but if it slips that 389 level, you can just clearly see on the daily, there's big downside potential. This gap down from 389 all the way down to 373 the same day. So you can see it's a big downside potential level on the daily. But if we pay attention to how it's been reacting at this 378 level, you can visually see, there's a gap to fill here. When SPY breaks above this resistance and when it comes back down to the previous resistance, it's likely due for a bounce because it just had a massive breakout. So if it's going to come back down just as fast as it came up, it's probably going to bounce at the previous resistance at this gap fill level right here. And you could just see it's not as big as a downside potential level. I mean, it can be. I mean, you look right here, it gapped down at 378 and then it just sold off all the way down to 360s. It can be. So pay attention to 378, man. Best advice I can tell you right now, 378. Focus on 378, and that's the key level. That's the make it or break it level. 378 is the make it or break it level, man. 378 breaks down, reacts as a resistance, SPY gets crushed. It holds, reacts to support, SPY is going to start to rocket back up. So pay attention to that. It's a little bit of a tricky situation. We are truly in the middle. This is literally the middle. SPY has a gap right here at 401.44. And SPY has a gap right here at 365.86. This 378 level is going to help you determine which gap is going to fill first. And what I'm telling you is we're now back at previous resistance, right? So if that previous resistance reacts to support, that means that the overall micro trend is still technically bullish and there's a gap to fill above. If this breaks down and reacts as a resistance, that's a strong reversal confirmation that the trend is switching back to bearish and that this nice little run up here is all BS. It's all fake pump. And then it just starts climbing back down below to fill the gap. And then that's where you buy the calls at 366. So guys, just to understand, we are at make it or break it, man, on the SPY. This is literally make it or break it, man. This is as key level as it gets. It had a breakout. It filled the gap, had a reversal, went back to previous resistance. Completely normal for stocks to go back to previous resistance when they have a nice breakout. Completely normal. If it holds, the trend is still overall bullish to continue to run to try to fill the gap at 4144. If it cracks and turns into resistance, we're going to see a very nice flip where this gap is going to be out of sight for a bit, and we're going to be on track to go back down to fill this gap below within time before filling this one. So just understand that this 378 needs to be the key level to focus on. And it's a type of level where a big move is expected to occur. And if you're on the wrong side of the trend, you cut your losses quickly, switch sides. It's that type of level where the win rate does not matter. I'm going to leave it off at that. In terms of stocks, not watching too many. I'm keeping, I want to get in on some, man, I had puts on this at 10:30, man. At 10:30, right here, I had puts on this. I sold it for an 8% win. The fucking puts went up 100% that day. That was insane yesterday. So much opportunity, but that really screwed with a lot of people trying to aim for a big win today. I'm telling you, today was a very tough day trading today. So like, if you did well trading today, hats off to you. But there's some stocks on my radar for puts, leap puts. Mainly just one right now. This is the one I'm most interested in. I'm not pulling the trigger yet. I'm just watching it right now. But we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. This LI. In my previous video, I talked about stocks I'm interested in buying leap puts on. This is my favorite one right now. LI. This Auto Inc. ADR. This one. Best price 43.96. Highest gap to fill above. We're nearly towards all-time highs. And there is some gaps to fill above. Overall, this is extremely extended. We're triggering dark blue. This works. This indicator I have, it works. Look at what happens when it triggers dark blue. You see this teal blue? It goes up. What happens on the first day it triggers dark blue right here? Massive sell-off, right? And it just does that. It does that a lot. You could see right here, it triggers dark blue. This time it went up a little bit higher, but within time it went much lower. Like overall, we're in a situation where the top is nair. Like the top is definitely nair on this. There's just so many. It's a little tricky, but the top is going to be nair on this. It's either going to be something like this, where it just really starts to sell off aggressively, or it's going to be something like this, where it kind of just goes up a little bit higher to about, I'd say $44, 44, 40, right around 44. It goes up higher to 44. Then it sells off. So I'm not getting in just yet because it could go to 44. There's a lot of gaps to fill above. One thing that's going to help me is following the SPY at this 377 level to really figure out if it's still bullish or if it's just going to turn bearish again. So we'll see. That 378 level is really going to help me determine when to enter my leap put options on LI. That's going to be one confirmation I'm going to use. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much it right now. Wow, Lucid took a beating. For Lucid calls right here, 1555. Lucid calls at 1555. Write that level down. This MRO, this one really turned bearish, man. Roblox is getting interesting. Roblox topped at the 3640 level. Roblox is make it or break it as well. Keep an eye on Roblox. We're at make it or break it. This right here, I want you to focus on this level. This is a key level. The low right here is going to be 33.78, $34. If 34 reacts as a resistance, Roblox falls off a cliff. If it holds, reacts as support, don't buy it. Just do nothing with it. Pay attention to that 34 level. If you see it struggling, see it reacting as a resistance at 34, you're going to want to scalp some puts and ride it back down. You could just see right here, man, it's got big downside. Big downside. If 34 cracks, the next overall support is towards the mid 31s. That's going to be a nice drop for puts. So keep an eye on Roblox, man. It's not looking that bullish. Keep an eye on that $34 level. But yeah, those are the main ones that I'm watching right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a lot. I will see you guys within the next one. I'll see you guys tomorrow live. I'll see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open within the live trading session within Trader Society. If you do want to join Trader Society, if you do want to check out Trader Society, it's going to be that first link down below in the description. Everything is explained within that first link. Click the page, you'll see exactly what it is I'm talking about. Everything's explained in terms of what's included, and you do get lifetime access. It's a one-time fee. Just to give you some background, you get access to the video lesson library where you learn all of the gap trading, price action trading strategies. We learn risk management, position sizing, and psychology. You do also get access to the live trading streams. The live trading streams we do every single day at Market Open, where you get to watch me trade live on stream, see my open positions, see the live callouts, break down the charts, answer your questions live on spot. Also the Discord chat, the chat room where you get to direct message members one-on-one. So yeah, if you are interested, that's going to be the first link down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys within the next video. It is comeback season, man. I'm telling you guys, I had a pretty big red day today, but I'm good. It was a couple weeks profits. It is what it is. It rarely happens for me, but I understood the mistakes I made. I'm going to work on more of an in-depth video going over more mistakes on how to recover from red days and how to prevent them as well. But one advice I can give you is try not to hold like too long. Just try to scalp, size in accordingly, like 10% of your portfolio, 20% maximum. You got to choose the right contracts and try not to hold too long. Try not to hold for a bigger win. Whenever I hold for a bigger win, I give it back. Another thing I noticed is my biggest loss always come from trades that go green to red. If I'm up 10%, if I'm up 20%, I don't take profit. The trade goes red and I don't get out and I hold. I always noticed makes me a lot more emotional in a sense when I do that. And I tend to hold it even longer, and the loss just drags on and it turns into a bigger loss. So one thing I'd recommend is if you're on a trade that goes green to red, and if you definitely notice that you trade differently when that happens, you become more emotional, you're not on your A game, just cut it automatically. Just think of it as you're doing the right thing. You're 100% doing the right thing. You tried, you were up, you aimed for a bigger win, it didn't work out, so you just got to get out. You're going, it's red now, you didn't take the small win, it is what it is, just get out of the trade. That's one thing I can highly recommend, because I've studied my biggest losses, and they always come from holding too long. They always come from turning green trades into red trades and not getting out the moment they turn break even, right? So just keep those things in mind. That's one thing that can definitely help you out. But yeah, if you do want to be a part of Trader Society, I'm telling you guys, we got a phenomenal community in here. I'm so looking forward to working with you guys tomorrow. If you do want to join us, it's gonna be the first link down below in the description. It is comeback season, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to get started. So yeah, let's get it tomorrow.